So I'm tempted to read this Bernie Sanders tweet in my best Bernie Sanders impression, but I think I'll leave it to the audience's imagination. But he recently tweeted out that at a time when climate change is the greatest crisis facing the planet, Microsoft and Google are making billion-dollar deals with the fossil fuel industry. And what he's referring to is actually something that I think is really exciting, which is this phenomenon of the power of Silicon Valley being brought to bear on giving us power. And so here's just two examples of what there's a lot more of this going on. But last year, Google started an oil, gas, and energy division. And for example, the Google Cloud and the French oil company Total signed an agreement to jointly develop
Total, they're going to get really mad.
Total. Yeah, sorry about that. An agreement to jointly develop artificial intelligence solutions to for oil and gas exploration and production. And then in February, ExxonMobil announced a partnership with Microsoft to use cloud technology and data to help with production in the Permian Basin. And the Sanders' reaction I find disturbing on a lot of levels. One is just anytime you have the phenomenon of the government telling businesses what legal industries they should or shouldn't invest in, I worry about that. But more generally, we're living at a time when Silicon Valley is being attacked by all sides in really, I think, disturbing ways, particularly when there is this huge potential for them to take the power of software in new directions. But I should say there is a sort of grim justice here in that Silicon Valley is really talked out of both sides of its mouth, or rather, when it's talking, it is almost always trying to posture as green and even 100% renewable. And now they're trying to profit from the companies that they're effectively smearing as dirty and unnecessary. Now, I don't think the solution to that is to then, chase them down for working with oil and gas, but it is they should be more honest and upfront about why what they're doing is good and why they think that it is good.
Yeah, they could really use the human flourishing framework, even if they're talking about, okay, well, we believe in transition and whatnot. It has to be the idea of, we need a humane transition. I don't think of it in terms of transition. I think of it in terms of evolution, and I don't think CO2 emissions are nearly as significant a priority as they claimed to think. But they have to put it in the context of we want to reduce CO2 emissions as a means to improving human life. And we have to recognize that human life, as we know it, requires cheap, plentiful, reliable energy. And that for much of that energy, we don't have a current substitute, and you can aggressively look for them. But to deprive people of energy is going to make their life worse in every respect, including they'll be much more vulnerable to climate. And so, again, human flourishing perspective, there's a lot of potential. So I hope that some of the presidential candidates start thinking in these terms, particularly on the Republican side, because at the moment their energy policies are infinitely better than the Democrats. So I'm rooting for them on energy issues, at least. Stefan, what is your, and I should say, and definitely not on all issues, but definitely on energy issues.